Welcome to Mr. V Teaching Math. In this session, I'm continuing to work on the order of operations, and I'm continuing to look at exponents. I'm about to talk about one of the most difficult topics that I teach in my class. A great many students struggle with this, mostly because it requires memorization and actually studying. When it comes to test time, most students will not remember how to do negative exponents. And by the way, if there's anybody out there on the internet who has a better way to teach this, I'm all ears. Let me begin. Here is a negative exponent. We learned earlier that this tells us that this is going to be repeated multiplication. But what does the negative mean? It does not mean that the answer is negative. It actually means the answer is going to come out to be a decimal or a fraction. Let me demonstrate how that works. Here is one way to think of it. This little symbol here means one thing. It tells you that it's a fraction. I'm going to replace that little negative sign with the fact that it's a 1 and a fraction bar. These two are the same thing. The rest of the question will remain as it was before. I will have the 3 here and the power of 2 here. These two things are equal. They are exactly the same thing. The negative sign is telling you that it's a fraction. I can now continue to work on this question. What's next? Well, I know that I can write 3 to the power of 2 differently. I can write out its long form. I can write it out as 3 times 3. The fraction bar is still there, and this is now 3 times 3. Well, I can continue. 1 over 3 times 3, well, that's 1 over 9. And as we've learned earlier, this is division. This is actually 1 divided by 9, which, if I actually go and divide that, I will discover that it will come out to 0.1 repeating. In other words, 3 to the power of negative 2 is actually equal to 0.1111111 into infinity. Let me demonstrate with another number. Let's do 5 to the power of negative 2. Again, this tells me that it's going to be a fraction. It's going to look like this. 1 over that. The 5 and the 2 remain the same. 1 over 5 to the power of 2. 5 to the power of 2 is 5 times 5, which gives me 25. 1 divided by 25 gives me 0.04. 5 to the power of negative 2 is equal to 0.04. That is what negative exponents are. And for some reason, students have a very hard time remembering this topic. It requires practice and memorization to simply remember that the negative means it's going to be a fraction, and that you can then take this and use skills that we've learned elsewhere to continue the process. You need to know exponents, you need to know that this is division, and you can get the answer without having to use a calculator.